So I'll never forget, I had this vision. And in this vision, God was with me. And it was like God and I were walking hand in hand down this lit path. If you think about like a keyhole, it's this long path. And then it opened up into a circle. And along the path and around the circle were angels. I'll never forget. God is just glowing. I couldn't see his face, but he's guiding me down this path. And as I'm getting closer, I'm seeing a bunch of things just like in the center of the circle, you all. And at some point, I guess because I was so fixated on what was in the middle of this circle, and the angels are just, their lights were just so bright. They were bright blue and white. I'll never forget. And because my focus went from, oh my God, I'm walking down this path with God, to seeing these angels, to what is this in the middle of the circle? And as I got closer, I am picking up all of these things, and I'm in the dream. It was like my spirit was telling me it was all of my betrayals. It was all of my broken heart moments. It was all of my fears. It was all of my reservations. It was all of the things that had ever happened in my life. And I'm picking them up, you guys, and I'm just crying. And I'm like, what do I do with this? It was in the center of this circle. And then I had this clear and conscious moment where I was like, whew, forget these things. I was like, where is God? Where is God in all of this? And I'll never forget. God said, here I am. And it's like the angels like parted from the circle. And I remember in this dream, because I really believe God is my heavenly Father. He is my Father. And I just remember running to him when the scriptures say, behold, I'm doing a new thing, and old things are passed away. That was the last time that I picked up any of those things after that dream. Had to be the tail end of last year, is when I was really processing a lot of deep things and really sitting with myself, really owning my parts and stories and situations, placing things of other people, but realizing even with the people, they were a part of the unbecoming, of the overcoming to become. And I'm just so thankful that God would allow me to witness something so spiritual, something so beautiful. It was like a funeral to my old self and my old mindsets and heart sets and ways of being. And to know that I had the ability to run to my Heavenly Father, it was so comforting. Exceptionally beautiful. And in sharing that with you, I'm sowing that into your life as well. Well, hey there, social fam. It's me, like just me. And I'm really excited. I'm grateful to be in a space and a place where I'm willing to let my light be seen. And the light this time, it's for me, and not really just me. I know that other people get to glean from it. They get to learn from it. They get to maybe even borrow it, or I just say, take what you need, right? But I'm in this space where if I don't come forward at some point, someone may not get free. And I'm not saying I'm your passageway, but I am saying that God has granted me an opportunity to go through certain things, and with the boldness, with the faith that I have, I'm not afraid to speak those things out loud. And I'm not in a phase or a place in my life where I'm going to shrink back or I'm going to bite my tongue. Well, respectfully, of course. So you may ask, like, what is this unbecoming? It's just the ability to undo the traits, the characteristics, the behaviors that we've picked up and assumed in these roles along the way. You know, sometimes our trauma has a way of just attaching itself to us as if it's just totally entitled. You know, we pick up overfunctioning, we pick up these anxiety disorders, we have these over-consuming thoughts and notions, and we assume that that's our identity. And the reality, the truth is, they're not. Realizing like you have the ability to hit factory reset mode. Think about your phone or your toys when you were a kid and they say just hit the reset button. And this moment right now, I've had my reset, but this time it's yours. And sometimes we just need an example. We need someone that looks like us, or maybe someone that doesn't, someone that sounds like us, that resembles us or reflects who essentially we really want to be. And if you've been following me for a while, as this is a relaunch and a rebrand, but really this is a release. Back in 2020, when I started this, and as it carried up until like about 2022, I believe, or 2023, I can't recall exactly. But I remember saying that I was going to be the best friend, the cousin, the sister, you know, that I wish that I had when I was going through the things that I was going through. But also, I couldn't even allow those people to help me unless I actually knew exactly where I was. And so in this moment, this is your opportunity to hit your reset button. So as we go on this journey, you'll see me looking at my phone, pulling it out, because I genuinely want you guys to know that this isn't about being perfect. This is just about being authentic. It's about bringing you into intimate moments of my healing, moments of my stillness, moments of my process, to honestly show you all like what it could look like for you. And I just pray God gives me continuously like holy boldness just to do it. But the reality is, this is rooted in Isaiah 43:18-19, where it just states, behold, I love that word, I'm doing a new thing. And if you've been on this journey with me, I have talked about the relationships and the ruptures that I've gone through. But then I also came back and I reported the healings and the reconciliations that have happened. But one thing I didn't really dive into is some of the behavioral patterns that I fell into. The season is about achieving, it's about releasing, letting go, relinquishing. And it's the shedding of the old roles and the identities and the survival tactics. It's about unlearning the survival responses. And it's loosening perfection. If you know anything about a Virgo, sometimes like we get so wrapped up in it has to be this way in order to, you know, be this way. And I am in the process of becoming, I'm unbecoming a perfectionist. So let's get into the notes. My journal. It's really my phone. Anyway, I thought becoming meant building. How many people are guilty of that? Building upon or building over the flaws, building over the insecurities or the rejections. No. What I'm learning is that it first required undoing. It required like unlearning. It required me to just sit with myself in so much stillness. And this season isn't about achieving. Guess what, you guys? It's about releasing, shedding of old roles, our old identities, old thought processes, old ideologies, there's things that don't represent like who it is that I'm becoming, who God was showing me and I like to call it my God print, not just my blueprint, my God print, like him placing his identity and his hand on me. I wanted to be who he created. And within that meant unbecoming. It's not a breakdown, you guys. It's not. It's really not. It's a breakthrough. And that breakthrough, sometimes it's in slow motion. Sometimes it's quick. Sometimes it's fast. Sometimes you can walk. Sometimes you can crawl. Sometimes you can run through it. And sometimes you just have to sit in it and with it. But knowing that while you're in it, it's so sacred. And it can really be beautiful. It really, really can. Before you become the woman or the man that God always intended you to be, you will have to unbecome the version you created to actually survive. You'll shed old roles, you'll release outdated loyalties. And just a reminder, as I'm speaking to you, I'm revealing me too. There's nothing for me to hide behind anymore, but realizing I am unlearning performative love. Yeah. And when you're doing that, I'm also standing and had to stand or maybe sit. Maybe I was in bed, I was crying, I don't know, maybe trembling. But guess what, y'all? I was becoming whole. Remember, in this atmosphere, in this sacred space, we are fighting to be healthy, healed, and whole. And for once in our life, it's in the presence of your true self. It's in the presence of my true self. You know, as I was going on that journey before, I reflect back, it took all of those previous versions of me to become this beautiful light, this beautiful being that you get to actually see. So when it makes sense, I like to give you all my my Mary Jane moments, as I like to call them. And if you guys don't know that show, it was like the thing on BET. Shout out to Gabrielle Union. But I remember having this conversation with friends and them asking me, "What's up with Shaw?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been thinking about it too, but I'm just not ready to share." And I knew what I was processing and where I was at mentally and emotionally. And then they said these words. It says, "There are people who need this version of you." And it resonated so deeply. It penetrated my heart because the reality and the truth is, so many of us do want to hide as we're going through our process. And it let me know that no matter where I am, or possibly what I'm going through, my light is needed. But let me also clarify within that, there are moments where you do need to retreat. And solace and solitude and stillness is the proper place to be. I want to clarify that. But this posted, and I'm pretty sure it reads backwards to you all. For where I am today, I don't have to wait until I'm perfected or I have like this grand platform to share. I'm grateful for the hearts and the minds and the souls that are here that are willing to bear and to receive what I have to share. And I promise to give you all what I have when I have my words. And I think that's the most important thing. I was waiting for the right words to be articulated, to be formulated, so that I can release them over to you all. So let's go on this journey. Let's revisit, but not to stay, never to stay, but so that we can learn. We can learn together. Maybe you'll have a new revelation, new insight. I pray that you break free and that you break through. And understanding that there are people that not just need this version of me, like they need this version of you too. The perfectionism is out the door. See that? I could have like re-recorded this, but I'm gonna leave it in there because it's just about showing up with who we are and what we have, and knowing that I'm leaving it up to God to do the rest. So I know you're down for the ride, but let's go.